Welcome to Hopeful Tribe. This is my friend Kim, and we're here today to talk about burnout. I know you don't have any personal experience with that, Kim, do you?
Who told you that? I don't know where you got that information from. I got a lot of experience with that.
And,
Experiencing some of it a little bit right now. I'm just saying. But
and tell me, what do you think caused your personal experiences with burnout?
well, okay. So when I think of the word burnout, I we're not going to name places, but you know where I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that where I really received and really like understood burnout and just like absolutely felt burnout in the core of my soul was when I was at the last end of my double masters and certificate in trauma at Holy Names, and also working at this place that I was working at.
An unnamed nonprofit in the Bay Area. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. See, I couldn't even think how to put that, but you said it so eloquently. So yes,
I might have talked about it myself a couple times. That's why.
I believe so. We're not going to mention that. But yeah, so I really began to feel it, and I started to notice how like it literally feels like a slow death. Like it just feels like you're just like life is like just completely draining from you. Like I mean, I did not understand that I was even in burnout until I was in class one time talking about it, and my professor said, "Stay back. I want to talk to you." And actually I had multiple professors tell me to stay back, and
Mm,
they all said the same thing. And professors, when you're in graduate level, those are all clinicians.
mhm.
So they know, I mean, these I'm talking about clinicians that's been in it for 20 plus years. So they know. And they all said the same thing. You are experiencing extreme, not even just like the beginning of burnout. You are so deep in it that if you don't pull out, you are going to lose all of your sanity if you even still have any. Like that's how in depth. And the thing is that I didn't even realize that I was even in it.
Mhm.
Um, but it literally burnout changes everything. It changes your personal perspective of how you see things in life. It changes your attitude. It changes your emotions. It changes the dynamics with even within your family. You're always tired. Um, you just like thought patterns. Oh, thinking was hard. Like, I mean, just to even think about like what am I going to eat? Like I couldn't even process that. That's how much burnout I had.
Mhm.
And I'm still actually decompressing from that. Like I still have not fully gathered all of myself yet. I'm still going through that process right now. And from my understanding, it takes a minute, to fully come back to yourself. Um, so yeah, that's when I really realized that I was going through that. Um, but then also too, I am a single mother. So, I have a 13-year-old that's going on 30. Um, you know, you know how that is. So, I realized that with everything, and then you have family situations, especially if you take care of your elderly parents, like all of that was just it was just all like piling on. So I
Were you
really
taking care of elders too?
yeah, my mom and dad.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I mean, they can do things for themselves, but a lot of times, when they're tired or they're hurting, I do a lot of the leg work for them.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's just, it was a lot. And but I'm learning more about it because I'm realizing when I see it in others, I know the signs.
Mhm.
So it kind of helps me to be able to be like, okay, you know what? I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but if I was you, you better slow down.
Right? Right.
Self-care is number one.
And I feel like, single moms especially resist this kind of information
Oh,
because we feel like we don't really have a choice,
right.
that, just to keep everything together, we have to do too much. Um and I wish somebody would have talked to me when I was much younger, uh
I
about
hear you.
slowing the heck down,
Yeah, yeah,
um but maybe there just wasn't enough consciousness back then, you know, for anybody credible to tell me that, you know?
right. Well, I don't even think that did they even really have it figured out back then. I think because maybe, of course, in this world that we live in now, I mean, burnout is like right in front of our face because everyone's burned out.
Mhm.
Everyone has some form or just a little dose of it or even more of that. So now it's more recognizable where you can see it because everyone is stressed out. I mean, if we just look at today's time, like right now, as we're here live talking, look at all that's going on in this world.
Mhm.
And the stress from that is tremendous. How do you gather to collect yourself with all of this chaos that's going on? Not only if you're looking at from the outside world, but then you started to pile on your own stuff,
Mhm.
your family stuff. That is going to tend to wear you down. It's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. You are going to it got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
It
Well,
got
and I think the time we're living through in particular is incredibly stressful. I feel like the demand
mm,
on people is much higher than it used to be. Um, and, you know, just because we're capable of doing more doesn't mean we should be doing more.
exactly.
I just, you, I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever read any Keynesian economic theory, but such a geek. I have, but
It's okay. I love your geekness.
yeah. Anyway, he predicted long ago that at this point we'd have a 15-hour work week because technology would evolve and it wouldn't be necessary for us to work so much, right? But here we are with all this tech and all these ways to make our lives easier, and we're working harder than we ever have before. Like, what kind
Well,
of madness is that, right?
that's straight madness. Um, but it's so funny that you actually bring this up because I was listening to so I kind of follow this group on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Me too.
and I just love it. Which also sometimes it could cause the burnout as well. But anywho, we're not gonna talk about that. But so this group they had Elon Musk. He was the Tesla guy. Of course, everybody knows him. The AI man.
Mhm.
And he was talking about like exactly like what you were talking about. But he was saying that people don't realize how close we are that AI is getting ready to take over because they are producing so much of the technology that it's like what is getting ready to happen is that basically like there's not going to be need for human beings. It's just the robots are going to do everything. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, first of all, that was like, stressful just to hear that because I'm like, okay, well, the profession that we're in the profession of healing. I don't think people gonna want to talk to a robot. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
And I think we have one of the safer professions
I think so. So I,
because like almost everything else you don't really need a real person for.
right, right,
Even doctors. You could program a robot
to
to
do
be a
right.
better doctor than a human.
I don't know if I would trust it
Right.
because in case somebody hacked the system, then you just messed up on the surgery table. I'm just saying, but that's
Well, I'm just
where
thinking
they're going.
certain aspects like differential diagnosis, for instance. Like I have had so many situations in my life where doctors misdiagnosed me, but a robot would not, right? Because they
No.
would just go step by step through all the
Well,
things it could be till it came up with the right answer.
well, like Elon said, he said that they're smarter than humans. So I'm just that's because they're programmed. They're putting in, the chips in the computers and all that. So, I think we're coming to that point in this world that yes, it's definitely increasing. Um, and I think what's going to end up happening, and I think also too, I remember when I was in graduate school, and I remember a professor of mine said one time, they said the profession you are going into is going to increase so much because everyone is going to be looking to release. They're gonna have to have it because things are going. It's not going to get increase. Like it's not going to increasingly get better. It's just we're going to have to learn how to manage all of this.
Mhm.
Understanding, okay, what world are we living in? And when you have people that are in this world of technology and they're pushing it, I mean, you know people are going to start worrying about, okay, well, will I have a job? you know
Yes.
a friend of mine was just saying that they went to a friend of theirs went to a restaurant right here in the Bay Area where the robot was serving them.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's this place at? Well, see, I ain't been out, so I don't know. Many places. You see, that's why I gotta hang out with. We gotta dig
Yeah.
it in. I
We gotta hang out.
didn't know
We
that
gotta
that
hang
was.
out. You're
I
not
didn't know
getting
that was
around.
going on.
It is. Mhm.
So a robot really was serving the food.
Mhm. There's a cafe in San Francisco that has no human staff. It's
That's
all robotic.
see, I feel burnt out just hearing that.
Well, and we really, I mean, this is a side note, but I feel like as a society, we really need to figure out how people are gonna be fed in the transition because there's going to be a
Yes,
whole lot of people who are just out of work overnight
overnight.
and they're going to need to keep roofs over their heads and feed their children,
Exactly.
so we need to figure something else out. Like I really am a strong advocate for a universal basic income. I think that could be a really good alternative to people working for a living, you know? And then if people wanted more money, they could, start their own business or do something else, but like they would still have enough to meet their basic needs.
That's why I really think that it's really important. It's like imperative that people now, while we're still somewhat relevant to the societal world,
Mhm.
I'm talking about human beings, that is, um, that they begin to, craft their niche, get that specialty under your belt.
Mhm.
Because if you have that, no one can, coin that market, get that under your belt. Because if you don't, and the way that, society is going, and, of course, everything that you hear on the news is not truth. It's
Right.
just not truth. So you have to read in between the lines. And the fact that I go back to him because he loves to talk. So and he lets all the secrets out. So I kind of like pick up on his stuff. And um if he's saying this and he's like, people don't realize how far advanced we really are. And that's because we're not, especially if you're not in the field of that and you're not really like your hands are not in it, you don't see it. But it's going to be where it's just going to be thrown at you. And then it's going to, like you said, overnight,
Mhm.
people are going to have, like it's going to be a major, I don't even want to think about, but it's, we just need to really prepare, get ourselves prepping, prep
Yeah. In every way.
in every way, not just planning and food and all that, but prep in every single way that a human being we can do for this societal community that we're in. And be prepared for those that don't have, to be able to service them as well. So don't
Mhm.
just prep for yourselves, but also looking for the next, your side brother, your side sister that may need that help. I'm just saying, because when the when the stuff hits the fan, everybody's not going to be prepared. And if you can be able to, as long as it's not taken away from your family, and you're able to help someone else, hey, you got to do it, because that's,
Mhm.
we are humans. So we, robots don't feel, but we do,
Yeah.
right?
The robots aren't gonna feed you.
They're not right. They're not going to care because they didn't program compassion in them. But we're programmed with compassion. Well, at least majority of us, I would hope, are programmed with compassion. So we definitely need to have the resources to be able to help each other during a tough time. And that's also too, it goes back to burnout, because you know that's why it's so important, like when you're going through that, and when you're going through burnout and you're going through the stress, that you connect. You got to plug into the resources of, that's going to be able to reconnect you, to rejuvenate you.
Mhm.
And for me, my spiritual walk, is number one. I find my connection is, God is my base. So for me, it's like, when I get to that level, I'm like, help me, Lord, because I don't know how to do this. I am like in a corner. I'm starting to feel very weary. I don't know how to move through this. I'm feeling burned out. I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling stressed. And with all of that stress, burnout, tiredness, all of that affects your health.
Mhm.
I was noticing I was getting migraines, a lot of migraines. And I'm talking about the ones that be on one side of the head and felt like that side was taken out, and you only had like one eye because you couldn't see out the other eye.
Yeah.
The migraines were that bad, like driving and only like this, like with one eye open, because I couldn't, the headache was so like just pounding. Um, and it affects your health so badly that burnout is real. That's all
Yeah.
I can say. I'm sorry, the mailman must be here because my dogs are going crazy.
Oh, no, your dogs are going.
If you can hear them, the mailman's here.
Hello, mailman. I
Yeah.
hope the mailman's not burnt out.
So right, they probably burn out for my dogs.
Um, Let me ask you, what helped you the most to get on your road to recovery from burnout?
So I'm still on my journey,
Mhm. Well, what
but
got you started? Because you
what got me
clearly are
started,
on the path.
I got tired. I got tired of it. It really came to a point, like I said, I felt like I was dying, Sue.
Mhm.
And my mom, I remember one time my mom, she saw me, she said, you got to stop. Like she just outright, she didn't say hi or nothing. She said, you just need to stop, because she could see it. It was like on me.
Mhm.
And so that really was a part of my kickoff. Like, okay, if people on the outside can see what I'm going, this is not good. Because I know what I'm what's going on inside me. I understand that piece. I got that. But if other people can see it and other people can feel it, okay, I'm doing a disservice to myself and to others.
Mhm.
So that for me was kind of like my kickoff, like of okay, something has to change. There was many times I wanted to quit. I said, I don't want this anymore. I don't want the degree. I was tired of the job. Well, I'm tired of the job. I, you know, so I was ready to just get, but the one thing that really was kicking in for me was don't stop the degree. You
Mhm.
gotta get rid of the job, go and do that. But don't stop because that what I got is going to be able to help me, to help myself, but then also help others. So for me, that was my push.
Mhm.
But I had to, even though that was my push, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to back up on some other stuff. And the job was one of it. I was towards the end of, the degree, um, the unrealistic um what is that word I'm trying to use? The unrealistic uh
Expectation.
expectations. You see how that worked? It didn't come out. Expectations. Yeah, like unrealistically, unrealistic. Yeah, just I just was like, I'm just done. And it wasn't the folks that I was working with, meaning clients. It was the industry of it. Um,
Mhm.
and that it just felt like it was just so like we supposed to be about healing, but it doesn't really feel like it's healing. And so that for me was a burnout, just from that because it was pulling me out of my comfort of what I was trying to do.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Like I wasn't really I really wasn't in that space of okay, I'm here to help folks, but I don't feel like that's what, even though your mission say that, I don't feel like that's what we're really doing.
Mhm.
So with that war that I was warring with inside of me, it was adding to the stress. It was adding to the feeling and the rapid increase of the burnout.
Mhm.
And that's when I was just like, I'm done. When they confirmed me, I said, okay, can you see the two deuces? Peace out. I'm out. I'm out. Gotta go.
I'm so proud of you for just walking away. That's a beautiful thing. It's so hard for us to walk away from a sure paycheck, when we're single moms, because we know it's on us, right?
Yes,
Like it's just on us.
yes,
And
yes.
I think that's part of what's wrong with society too. Like, how is that okay that
Right.
two people create a life and only one is actually responsible for their upbringing? I don't understand how that's okay.
So when you have that interview, I want to be invited again. Because I can talk about that all day. But you know,
Oh man,
yes,
that's just not okay. Like if
yes.
father doesn't want to pay child support, that's okay. But if I didn't want to take care of my baby, I get locked
Oh,
up.
oh,
Okay.
clink clink in jail. You
Yeah.
CPS is all on you. You
Oh,
talking
if a
about you gotta,
mother
yeah,
doesn't provide, then that's neglect,
yeah,
I guess. All right.
yeah. So
But I
and,
mean, I
and,
just
and
think
and that's
that
stressful alone
the
too.
stress, caused by that double standard on single
Yes.
moms is criminal, you know?
Preach, girl.
I've
Preach,
seen women die because they were
preach.
just doing too much in their 40s. We're
Yes.
not talking about old women. We're
No,
talking about,
young women.
yeah, young
Yeah.
women.
Yes.
So sad to me.
I
So
don't have a collection plate for you, but I would give you some type of cash or time. Because you're preaching. You're preaching. All us single mamas out here, we know what you're
right?
saying, girl. Yes. Yes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that, I mean, that is a heavy. And when you think about it, those that have gone on, I mean, they die with a broken heart, and it was stress that killed them
Mm-hmm.
because they're trying to make sure that everything is being met. Your responsibility is that child. So, you know, you already feeling. So I mean, we can go so many different ways with this because especially if you a POC
Mm-hmm.
and you working out there in the world, you're getting all of that backlash of, racism, system racism, regular race, whatever, all type of racism,
Right.
discrimination, everything, right? So, you're feeling all of that stress,
Yes.
you know. Then okay, from there, you're not, you highly skilled, but you're not getting paid as you're being high as a highly skilled person. So, by the time you get your paycheck, you robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And sometimes Peter don't even, Paul don't even get it, and then John is left out too. Y'all catch that later on, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're barely making it. You're not surviving. And I mean, you know, it's this lady named Lynn Richardson, and she says, "I was broke. I would get paid, and I was broke by 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So not paycheck to paycheck. It was paycheck to 2 o'clock because by the time you paid all your bills, you may have had just a little bit just to put food on the table,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully your kids, took care of the clothes and the shoes they wore. Because if not, you was trying to scrounge up some money to pay for shoes. So I'm just saying, like all of this stuff added, girl, burnout is like your friend. It's like right there looking at you. Like, what's
Yeah.
up? Like, what's up?
If you don't burn out, it's some kind of miracle, you know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Too much.
That's
Oh, I crashed and burned so many times over the course of my life, and uh I kept getting sucked back in for lack of cash.
mm,
If I had had enough cash, I would have just been self-employed from about 24. You
yep.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah. No,
I
I totally get it.
recognized that young how crazy the system was,
Right.
and how the nonprofit industrial complex just, you know, eats us up and spits us out,
Mhm.
the young clinicians anyway. I feel like they're just really exploitative. One place I worked at, they had us do the billing paperwork. So I knew Medi-Cal was giving my agency $175 an hour for my services, and yet the agency was only paying me 30. And
That's highway robbery.
and I was like, wow, they're so dumb to have us do the billing. Like, had they not made that part of my job, I could have imagined that I was only,
Right.
getting a little bit gypped, not like totally
Like
just,
a whole, yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And anyway, but it was the lack of cash that always sucked me
Always.
back in to these crazy systems. And the last time I left from the one we worked at together,
Hmm.
I promised myself that I would never betray myself again. That if I had to live in my Prius, that's what I was going to do. Because I just could not go back
No,
to
I
work
get
for
that.
another exploitative system.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like straight, I know like, a lot of people don't like this word, but it was straight pimping.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sorry, that's what society knows, but that's what it was like, straight, like, hello,
Hmm.
taking every, and then, you know, when you don't have that extra income, and then this goes to why women have to go get 2 and 3 jobs and put themselves through school.
Hmm.
So you don't think somewhere down that line you gonna get completely just torched? I mean, burnout, that's one. But when you get torched, I mean that you just like like just gone. Like that's it. You're going to crash
Mhm.
eventually. Like there's
Mhm.
no way you can keep going at this speed and don't think that that wall is going to move. No, you headed straight for the wall, and if you don't stop and put the brakes to it, you are going to just go. You're just going to crash into it, and that's exactly, especially women. I know men experience it too. I'm not, discrediting them, but I'm just saying, women, we have a lot on our plates. And if we don't incorporate somewhere in the day, and I mean every day, we have to incorporate, even if it's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes of just sitting and being by yourself. I tell my daughter, I know every woman probably could relate to this, but the bathroom is my spot. And it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
it's just that's my area. It's like you see the door closed, it's locked. Leave me alone. I am not present. You need to give me my 15 or 30 minutes. I may just be sitting on the tub on my phone. Or maybe not even on my phone, just sitting on the tub, just thinking. What it means is leave me alone. Because if you don't, you're gonna see this other side. Like, leave me alone. Like
Mhm.
I need my time. I like to drive. I love just to get in my car and go, especially when I start to feel that sense of like I'm getting to that space. I like to be by myself. And so that's some of my self-care that I do.
Mhm.
I make sure that every 2 weeks I go get my fingernails and my feet done. If that means that my daughter cannot go experience going somewhere with her friends, honey, oh well. Stay at home and clean your room. You need to do that anyway. I'm just saying. That's so I mean, this is real out here in these streets. It's real out here.
Mhm.
So I'm starting, and that's when I noticed when I began to feel that burnout, that's what I started to put in place for myself. I have to have my own self-care.
Mhm.
And where I feel peaceful is in my car, my bathroom, and getting my feet and nails done every 2 weeks, and my hair.
Mhm.
And that's, now I'm starting, now that I'm kind of building a little bit more, going, self employment and stuff like that, and building a little bit more, I'm starting to incorporate where I told my family, I said, I will be taking trips, and that means even if it's just to Santa Cruz to stay in a hotel for the week by myself.
Mhm.
That does not mean y'all can come, because I take y'all every time I go, y'all come. No, this is for me only.
That's not restful when they come, I guess.
It's not. It's not.
Oh,
Mommy, I
um,
want this. I want that. I want. It's not restful.
yeah, I really highly recommend when people are burning out or they're already burnt out that they take as much time off as they can,
Yes.
um, just to give themselves a minute to kind of decompress
Yes.
and feel what it's like to be them again. Because I
Yes.
feel like when you get all caught up in burnout, you can even forget like what it feels like just to be okay, you know?
Oh, I totally like this is therapeutic for me right now. Totally understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
You lose a sense of yourself.
Yeah.
That process. You forget.
And you know how earlier we were talking about like, you're in this process, it takes a while, right? I just hit a year of being away from my last job, and I feel like I'm just now feeling like myself. It took a whole year for me to fully recover and feel like, oh, okay, I'm me again, you know?
When my mom retired, she retired from San Mateo County Probation Office.
Mm,
And when she retired, someone told her, because she was still getting up like she was going to work 4 o'clock in the morning every day.
wow.
And she was still feeling that stress, because what she was doing was
Woo.
very stressful. I mean, very stressful. And somebody had to tell her it's going to take about a year or so. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
even said the so, that means a couple more months, maybe even after that, where you will start to kind of feel like yourself again.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "A whole really?" And they say, "Yes." Like, because she was like, "When am I gonna feel like, the rejuvenation, and I'm free. I ain't on the slave trail no more of work." You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no. She was still on it, just like a little hamster on the wheel, getting up early. And I was just like, "But you retire. You don't have to get up." It was in her bone, like it
Yeah.
was that's her practice. So yeah. So a whole, and it took her about a year or so, maybe like a year or 2 months, until she really kind of was like starting to really decompress and not feeling that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at now. That's what, because I left in September. I graduated August 24th. I left in September. So I'm still going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I did notice, though, the day after, I will say that I got up like I was going to work, and I was like, "Wait a minute, but I don't work for them no more." And I said, "Thank you, Jesus." I was like, "Lord, I thank you." And so,
Oh
so
man.
I'm sorry if y'all just only knew. Um, but yeah, so I understand what you're saying when you say that, and I haven't made my year yet. But I'm definitely going to go somewhere for my year to celebrate. Is Kim back all the way?
Yeah.
Hi, Kim. You got to say hi to yourself sometimes.
Right? Right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what do you think has been the most helpful for your recovery?
Prayer.
Mm.
Prayer and being in nature.
Ah, yeah.
Prayer and being in nature. Because I feel, I mean, I'm a spiritual person. So in everything I try to find, okay, where's the good? Where's God? And when you're in nature, how close can you be to God? I mean, he's everywhere. So walking, on paths that has a lot of trees, like that for me is healing. Because you can see the beauty. I mean, so in my perspective of like going through burnout, experiencing burnout, being very acquainted with burnout, um, it's an ugly sight.
Mm.
It's not beautiful. It's not joyful. There's no happiness in there. Um, you don't feel love from it, right? It's none of that. Um, so how to get out of that, or how to start to get on that journey of coming out of that feeling,
Mhm.
you have to do the opposite of that. So be around people
Mm.
that love you. Be around people that, you know, pour into you, not take from. Because when you in burnout, your guard is down. That's one thing I did realize. Your guard is down, which means that you're not scanning folks like you would if you was in your normal state of mind.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody's starting to come in. So all those negative energies, and they ain't right. It's completely like what's that saying? Like, we learned this in our field. You know, that counter transference and transfer all, I mean, it's heavy when you're going through that process of burnout, because you're taking on everybody's stuff because your guard is down. You're not
Mhm.
deciphering through people's stuff, and you're not saying, "Oh, that's your stuff," like, because you're not fully focused. You're not fully present.
Mm.
So when you're not fully present with inside yourself, everything is filling you up, and it's never nothing good. It's always the bad. I don't know why, but it is. At least that's my experience. So I had to really start to change that. And like I said, getting in my car and driving up, up north, to see some trees, or get in my car and driving down to LA, or get in my car and just maybe drive to the block. I don't know, but just getting away from it, and just kind of reconnect. One thing I really I tell, like, everyone, like, when you're like going through and you don't feel connected, take your shoes off and walk in grass.
Mhm.
Just reconnect to the earth.
Yeah.
Feel that energy from the earth. Just feel it. Your feet, I mean, even if it's wet, it's okay. You could dry them off. Just walk in it. And I'm telling you, it's something about the richness of the soil that is healing in it.
Mhm.
It's healing. And that is, like, I really have to start to and I want to actually really incorporate that more and more and more in my life. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm starting to really, like, try to work on. My daughter was just asking about going hiking. Um,
Nice.
so I'm really excited about that. So we're gonna start, looking at some hiking trails and go hiking. Because one thing I will say, when you're burnt out, you either will lose weight tremendously or you will gain it like it's nothing else to gain.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I need to I didn't lose it. I actually gained. So
But you're losing now, right?
yes, I'm losing
I
now.
can totally see it
Yeah.
in your face.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, looking slender there.
Thank you, girl. Yes, ma'am. I'm trying to
That's
work.
great.
Yeah, and we're gonna start going to the gym. That's one thing I will say too. If you are under stress, even if you can't get a membership at a gym, walking, just walk, or get like those bands and do
Mhm.
your own exercising at home, or like how you do the strength training.
Yep. Mhm, mhm. Oh,
Yeah,
I love ugh. It's funny because often exercise is something that's brought up as like a treatment for burnout, but when I'm burnt out, I don't wanna exercise, not at all.
no,
I just
it's
wanna sit and try to recover.
right. Or eat a ho ho,
Yeah, or a
or eat
whole pie. I don't know.
or a whole pie, or a
Yeah,
ding dong or
I
something. But
yeah,
no,
but now I'm super into
right,
exercising. I love it. I feel so strong. It's
right,
crazy because I've only been doing the strength training since the beginning of this year, but I can
right.
already feel it.
Feel it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
just noticed that, yeah, and what you said is very true. When you're in burnout, you're so tired that you don't feel like doing it. But I did notice, though, when I would push myself to do just even maybe like just 10 15 minute walk. I'm not talking about going in there and being like Hulk Hogan and pumping iron and all that. No, basic
Yeah.
walk,
Yeah.
walk and process what you're going through.
Mhm.
Right? But do this by yourself. Don't do it with somebody, because you need to, because you have to. Burnout is about is about being disconnected to from you,
Mm.
because
Yes.
you're not with yourself. Yourself is something
Right?
over there looking at you like, look at this woman, just going through. And the real self is looking at you, and you looking at it like, when are you coming back? You know
Right?
what I'm saying? But you have to reconnect to yourself. So
Mhm.
just getting out and doing like a 15-minute walk
Yeah.
and just thinking, okay, where do I need to shed something? Like, something has to go. Something has to go. And where is that going to be released? Where is that release going to happen? Or Even if you don't want to think about your situation, think about something that's happy that at one time that you used to be connected to, and try to do those things again.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Look, I'm not saying that this is easy.
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying that at all because I know it ain't, or it is not.
Because your mom might watch this.
Right. You know, you don't supposed to say ain't. Well, Sue knows me. So,
Oh, it's
but
okay. Hopeful Tribe is very accepting
okay,
and
thank you.
loving. This is a very sweet community. So
Thank
you
you.
say how you want to say it.
Right. You know, hey, I am educated, but
Right?
there's sometimes the other Kim come out. I'm just saying. And then she just say whatever. But this is not easy work. It's easy to get to where that burnout is
Mm-hmm.
when you have not paid attention to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking on everybody else's stuff, everybody else's chaos. It's easy to get there, but it's hard to get out.
Yes.
But you have to have the determination within yourself to get back. I've noticed from just other people that I've dealt with that have experienced burned out, a lot of times is that they have lost their connection spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
And that disconnect is what really got that yarn ball moving, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But when they reconnected, the yarn ball, started to retract and they started to become more into themselves. So that's why I say, do it slow. This is not like a fast paced race of, the tortoise and the hare. It's not. Be the be the tortoise, because the hare ran on and got tired. The tortoise did it slow and was successful.
Yeah, I have these two turtles here
I love it. I
right
love
above
it.
my desk to remind myself
Yes.
that yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay if I need to slow
Okay.
down.
It's okay. Because there's something inside you that when you do things slow, it tells you to speed up. I don't
Mm.
know what that is, but it's like it's at least for me. Let me retract. At least for me. Like you're going too slow. But I notice that when I do things too fast, I get like frustrated, I get stressed out, I get tired quickly. But when I do it slow and really put the dedication in it and really look at it and really analyze it, yes, it may not be as quick as maybe somebody else down the road, but when you look at myself, you're going to understand exactly where I'm coming from because I put the energy into it and I did it in a slowful, mindful way,
Mhm.
really paid attention to it. Um, and it's successful because then people can understand it more than quicker than someone that's ran and just did, and you could tell that their love and compassion wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to learn that piece too because I felt like I was on a race, and I think it was because of my age. I'm not old, but I'm not 20 like I used to be. Them years is gone. Sorry. Those years are no longer present.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so I would never see that again. But I am going higher, I'm going up. And so in my mind, I was like, oh my goodness, if I don't get this by this, I'm getting older. Will my mind still work the same? Like all of that hustle and bustle, which caused burnout too. Because
Mhm.
your future, you're like in the future.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I start going to school with women, I was in my bachelor's class, and I remember there was this 86-year-old woman in that class to get her.
Wow.
I said, you know what? Okay, that was the first time when I saw it. For my master's, my dear, dear, dear friend, Miss Gloria, she was in her 70s getting her master's. Like that to me was inspiration. That to me was encouragement because I said, if she's up here getting her look, I'm not close to that age. I am where I'm at. I'm in my 40s, y'all. I don't have no shame to tell my age, but I'm in my 40s. I still got time.
Yeah.
Slow down. That's what I had to slow down. You gonna get there. You're gonna get there. So that's just, I mean, for me, that's just kind of, what kind of helped me to be able to go through the process. Um, that's what kind of helped me to be able to um, start the journey. Like I said, I'm not fully out of it. There's some days that I do feel I feel that negativity, that
Yeah.
demon. That's what I'm calling it. It's just not right.
Well, I realized at the end of last year that I was still very much like in this overhurried place, like feeling
Yeah,
like I had to be hyper productive. And, I was posting 3 videos a week. And then I did this big research project at the end of the year, and I had all these coaching clients. And so I decided at the beginning of this year to make a rule that would make it absolutely necessary for me to slow down. You want to hear what it is?
oh, I do.
I'm only allowed to do what I want to do.
I like.
And it's pretty awesome. And don't get me wrong, there are moments when I'm like, oh, you're being lazy now. You're really taking advantage of this rule. Like, I don't understand. Why are we taking a nap? I don't I
Right.
don't understand this life. But you know what? It's so good for me. I really needed
I like that.
this new rule, and it's like a whole new life. I love it.
You know what? You know what I like about that? There's a word that you said aloud. Because that's like giving you permission.
Mhm.
It's like, before we didn't have the permission. At least in our head, we didn't think we did, because we have to
Mhm.
do everything. We got to cook, we got to clean, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do that. But you said aloud. I like that.
Mhm.
Okay. You didn't coin it, did you?
No.
Because I'm taking it.
Take it. Use it anytime.
I don't want to be sued. That's why I had to ask first. My
And
insurance will cover this.
I think for some people that might not be as helpful. Like I talked to a friend about my new year, new rule thing, and she was like, "Oh, that would be dangerous for me because I can just sit around all day,
Right.
you know." But like for me, it's the perfect bomb, right? Because I tend towards like hyper productivity
Yep.
and workaholism.
I was
So
going to say overwork yourself. Yeah.
yeah, I come
Yeah.
from this really intense American dream family. So that's,
Yes.
how I was raised and how
Yes.
I tend to go without any intervention. I
Yes.
try to do too much every time.
Every time. Every time. I know that so well. And
Hmm.
it's like, makes you think, who you trying to impress?
Right. Well, see, when I was growing up in my little all white neighborhood in Chicago,
Okay.
uh, people used to throw rocks at me and call me the N word. Did I ever tell you that?
I think when we were eating our delicious lunch one day. Yes.
Yeah. So I come home crying,
Mhm.
and my mom would bandage me up, and she would say, "Do you think she'd say, 'Oh, you poor thing, are you okay?'" No, she said, "If you're brown in America, you have to do better than your best."
Yep.
And so I think that's all tied up in there too. That I feel like I have to
Oh, yeah.
do way more than is really humanly possible because I have brown skin.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just not buying that anymore.
Right. Because who created that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That is, I mean, that's absolutely true to what you're saying. I remember that there was a article that I read, and they were talking about Black women and how, people always look and they always say Black women are so strong. Black women, it's not that. Well, we're strong. I'm not taking away from that, definitely, but it's when you look at the generational part of that, we had to be strong,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you got, like you said, when you had that racism of how they did you, when you were a child in Chicago, when you had that and you're disliked because of this color of the skin, you have to learn how to maneuver with that. So, which I will say this, and it's a form of trauma. It's a form of generational trauma because of the simple fact that this is from generations to generations. Because who told your mom that? See, somebody, she heard that from somewhere, and then she passed it to you. Well, that's in majority of POC community, family structure. We always have to be on top of our game. We always have to be better. We always have to strive for more.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're also the highest in heart attacks. We're also the highest in strokes. We're also the highest in diabetes. You understand? So what are we really striving for? And who are we? Why are we trying to reach for something that somebody that don't have to work as hard? Like, why are we striving for that? But then we're killing ourselves to
Mm-hmm.
strive for something for somebody that don't care for us anyway. I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
may get too deep with that, but you know what I mean.
No, no, absolutely not. I
You
think,
know,
you know, rest is revolutionary, you
right.
know? I'm so down with the nap ministry. I think that we really need to get the word out that
Yes.
we're like caught up in this race
Yes.
to an early grave, and that the best thing we can do is stop
Right.
and just rest.
That's it. And we have to do that. We have to start incorporating more self-care into our regime of what we do every day. As being people of color, we must do that. It's we have to. We have to. Because if we don't, we are going to be extinct. We're not going to be here.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And if people don't think that that's part of the agenda
Hmm.
of extinction of of folks, then I don't know, maybe the robots need to come. Because I don't know. Like, we got to start thinking this way, because why is this being put on us like this? Why do we feel, I think I have to go back to that. Why do we feel we have to do it? Why do we feel that we have to do it? You can work hard. I mean, you can work hard, but incorporate in that working hard, incorporate self-care though too.
Hmm. And like I think, short bursts are sometimes necessary, like when you're starting a new business or you have a new baby, or like, there are moments when you could be too busy and a little stressed. But that's not supposed to be a lifestyle ever. Our bodies aren't meant to like
Mm-mm.
work at maximum capacity all
No,
the time.
not
That's
all the
not
time.
that's not good.
We're not a robot.
We are not robots.
We're
Mm-mm.
human beings,
Yeah.
and we require rest, just as the robot does too, though. Right? So we're talking about the AI. They gotta sometimes turn off too. They can't work.
Oh, you're talking about like rebooting.
You're
Yeah.
rebooting.
Yeah, you're right. They do.
Right.
My
So they
computer, if
gotta
I don't
reboot.
turn it off for days, will start acting funny.
It started moving slow, doesn't it? At least
Mm-hmm.
I know my computer. And my computer is not that old. It's fairly. So you don't turn this thing off, you don't turn your phone off and reboot it, it starts to move slow. Well, if technology is like that, our body is filled with electricity. We're a being. So we have electricity running all through us. So we don't reboot this shell. Oh, we're not good for no one. We are going to crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to do that. Like you said, of course, sometimes life you're gonna have to be, moving. This gentleman that his name is Anthony O'Neill, and he's like this financial guy, and I really like him because he says that in his work, I think they work only 2 weeks and they go hard. 2 weeks, and the other two they're off. So, you know, he, that's just their model because he said that he was realizing that he was working so much. And then sometimes it feels like when you work so much, you're not producing, you're not really getting anywhere. You're just kind of going around like in a circle,
Mm-hmm.
like a roundabout, and you're not producing. And he just said, like with his team, he said, nah, some of them have families. He had to start look. He doesn't have a family, but they have families. He had to start looking at that because they were doing heavy hours and just work, 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 and they weren't spending time with the family. And then he could start seeing like what was going on with them. So 2 weeks they work hard. 2 other weeks, he said that he may do one extra week because that's his show. But then that other week he goes and he just relax.
Nice.
That's what I said too. And I said, you know what? We have to start incorporating that. Like I said, I don't. Some people may, you may not have the means to do it, but you don't have. There's things that you can do where you don't have to spend money. I'm learning that.
Mhm.
I'm learning that.
And if you don't have the means, there are ways to make more means too
That
that
too.
you might have never thought about before,
Right.
right?
DoorDash. Get paid the following Tuesday.
Well, I did the Lyft thing before I
Right.
got my coaching clients together.
Right.
But like, yeah, there's so many things to do, and there's a ton of things you can do online now too,
That too.
without ever
Oh,
getting in your car.
oh
Uh,
my goodness.
so
Yes.
I really encourage people to take a look, take another look if you
Yep.
haven't in a while,
Yep.
at the different opportunities out there because things are changing, and what you're doing now might not be there in 5 years,
That's
like
true.
Kim was saying.
Yep.
And, you know, if the people you're working for aren't treating you right, then
Right. It's time to
you
cut
need
it.
to be
Cut it.
looking. Yeah.
Look, let me tell you what that place taught me.
Oh, yeah. Tell me.
Well, it taught me a whole lot, but I'm going to give you one. We'll discuss the others when we go to lunch. I will
Right.
say. That place taught me that I'm highly valuable. Um, the fact that they could see it, but I couldn't see it, said a whole lot. So when I began to start seeing it and say, wait a minute, hold on. Now y'all give me all these kudos, but then you're still pumping the work, just dumping it, dumping it. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, we were talking about that. And I said, but you know what? I said, the only reason why they do that is because they know you can handle it and they want it done right.
Mm.
So that you're showing me my value, but then you treat me like crap. So I had to really start looking at that and say, okay, you know what? Then when I start looking at it from a perspective going down the line of working, I have seen that a lot before. I've always wanted to be a person that worked for myself. I don't like bosses like that. I mean, I like them. Let me not say it like that. Let me rephrase that. I like them, but you know, if I can do it by myself,
And you
I'd
can.
rather.
And now you know it. So watch
Yeah,
out.
right. Exactly. Am I frozen?
Uh-uh. Am I
Oh, okay.
frozen?
Yeah. Okay, now, okay, there you go. Hi.
Okay. Hi.
Okay.
We could probably talk all day, and I'm gonna have you back on because you're so fun. But before you go this time, what gives you hope?
I was waiting for this question. So, because I watch your other videos, so I knew you were gonna ask me this.
Ah.
And we can't talk all day, so yes.
You know your baby's waiting for you.
Girl, I forgot. This is so. If anyone's watching in CPS, do not call on me right now.
She'll
We
be all
gonna
right.
forget.
She's 13 going on 30.
Okay. But she's definitely gonna give me a whole earful. Watch. I thought you was gonna make it me. Nah. Anywho, what gives me hope? Many things give me hope, but one thing that really gives me hope is that one, I know through adversity, I know that if I apply myself, I can get through that. And it has been proven that I can because I just went through it. So what gives me hope is knowing that as long as I apply and keep myself grounded within my spiritual walk, grounded to people that are loving, grounded to people that pour into me and not withdraw from me, that if we just understand that and hold on to that and grasp that we are still on a good path in this world. But the moment that we step away from that, that's when we see the not so pretty stuff. So the hope for me is that um, making a difference in others' lives. Just as someone invested in me, I'm hoping that I can invest in them, in someone else. And so now this new walk that I'm on and this new journey that I'm on, that is what's giving me hope.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what's giving me hope.
I love it.
And you know what? Just before we go, because right when you said that, it just something just clicked to me. I just met this beautiful woman this past week, and this is within my notary loan signing um, work. And she lost her husband,
Mm.
and I remember, when we had initially talked, she was telling me about it. She just lost him in June. So, she's still through the grief process. It was just so touching. But I I remember when I went there and we were doing the paperwork, we start talking and she was just telling me about her husband and just how she's lost connection with her spiritual, with God. She's lost connection. And she said to me, she said, I know that you were sent to me. And she said, it was funny. She said, because my daughter just told me this week, she said, you need to go and talk to somebody.
Mm.
And I said, well, before she said that, I had said, I do this on the side. I do notary work on the side. I said, but my real passion and my focus is healing, therapy, doing that. And then she looked at me. It was like this look that she had on her face was like, I know you were sent to me. Because then that's when she told me, she said her daughter literally just told her, she said, you need to go and talk to somebody because she's not processing this well. So all of the training was worth something, but also too, my connection that I have with God was able to go to her, and she said, you have answered the questions I've had that I've been pondering. And just that little knowledge of knowing that I was able to help her,
Mm-hmm.
that's what gives me hope right there. And now
That's
I got a new friend.
beautiful. Right?
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna call you. I said, okay. And I'm not gonna charge you. Like, because everybody would be like, are you gonna charge me? No, because when it's a divine connection, when God sends you, your reward is something else. It you just got to do the work. And through that experience, it was like, I'm telling you, I went back to the car and I said, Lord, now I understand why you have me in this field, because of the connections I'm making with people. People are hurt, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, people are hurting. That is what gives me hope. And that's my drive.
Awesome.